everybody, welcome back. As mentioned in several of my recent videos, it is still quite cold up here in Canada, and I'm getting a little bit fed up of going to the garage and sitting there all bundled up and freezing cold. So as promised, I've come into the kitchen, and today we're going to be doing a cooking video. What I've got here is an eye of round, and usually in my neck of the woods this is, well, it's still one of the cheaper cuts of meat, but beef is becoming more and more expensive. So when I saw this bad boy on for $23.66, I snatched it up. $3 a pound for beef is pretty cheap, even if it is the rough cut. So I'm going to do a couple of different things with this. First things first, I'm going to try doing another recipe out of my charcuterie book on Bresaola. Bresaola is an aged Italian dried meat using various spices. So I'm going to attempt to do that. Anybody who's seen my duck prosciutto video will recognize basic techniques, and it really is simple to do. So we're going to get right into that now. So we'll just start out quite simply by opening up the bag. Try not to spill the blood everywhere. Open up the bag, get it over the sink, take it out, and you can give it a quick rinse if you like, just to get the blood off. And very carefully drop it on the board. Always have your paper towel handy. So I'm just going to pat it dry. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take off just about all this fat. When you're doing things like cured meat, you do want a little bit of fat, but this is quite a bit. And then all the silver skin on here has to come off, because silver skin has a tendency to tighten and constrict on the meat, and that's not what you want. So you can start getting under there with your fingers. Make sure you got a sharp knife. When you do it on the steel, when you hone your knife on a steel, make sure you got it at about a 20-degree angle, and you don't have to go all Gordon Ramsay like this and, you know, make a mess of your knife. Just put it on very carefully and slowly down each side. And after you've done that, make sure you wipe it off as well, because you don't want all the metal shavings still on there. So with your nice sharp and honed knife, just start getting under there. Get all this stuff off. So what I'm going to do as well, like I said, I've got an idea for a couple of different projects for this. So I'm going to take a small portion of this. I'm going to go by what my recipe says and use about a 3-pound piece, because that's what I've measured out all the ingredients for. And the rest is going to go into tonight's dinner, which I will do in the next video. So I would say roughly that big of a piece is what we're going to work with now. And I'm just going to put this out of the way somewhere, so it's a bit easier, a bit more room to work with. And we will get to that in the very next video. So I'll spare you the details. I'll put this on high speed. I don't think this is quite 3 pounds. I think this is quite a bit smaller, but that's okay. I'm just squaring it up for evenness. We'll start with that. Actually changed my mind. I think I'll get a bigger piece. So the total weight of this is 3.58 kilos. That's about 6 pounds. So really it should be about half of it, I guess. So while I'm here, let's clean this one up. So I apologize to all the professional butchers out there that might have been watching this. I was a cook for many years. I was not a butcher, although I always did like doing it. You might have noticed I wasn't that fussy when I was taking it off. Like, I took off some big chunks of meat there as well, but that's okay because I have a plan for that. That's not going to waste. Anyhow, there it is. Pretty much clean. Got all the major bits off except for this one right here. Just go at that again. There we go. And I will say, I'm going to do a piece roughly that big. Or do I like that one? No, that's dinner. So that's the piece I'm going with. There, I have spoken. It is decided. So, now that that's decided, what we need to do is give it a bit of a rub. So the rub mix that I found in my charcuterie book, I'm sure there will be lots of people that come out and say, that's not how you do Bresaola, this is what goes in it and that's what goes in it, and that's fine. I'm just going by the book that I have. I've seen a few different recipes where people add things like nutmeg and cinnamon. I'm going with this one. I think the one constant that I found is there are juniper berries. So we've got some of those. And obviously salt and sugar usually goes into the mix. So this is the mix that I have, and this is the way we're going to do it. I have found... I bought this coffee grinder years ago expressly for this purpose, and it gets used for nothing else. My mother-in-law tried using it for coffee once, and I was not too impressed. But yeah, it's great if you want to grind your own spices. I've made my own garam masala once, ground it up in here, and it's great. So what you want to do is, these are all measured out. This is a 1/4 cup of salt. I've used, in this case, sea salt. The recipe says kosher. Kosher or sea salt, take your pick. This is 2 tablespoons of granulated plain white sugar. The recipe calls for fresh herbs, which I didn't have any. So the general rule there is if it says use a tablespoon of fresh rosemary, cut it down to a teaspoon. Dried herbs are a lot more potent. So that was, I haven't got my glasses on. It was supposed to be a tablespoon of chopped fresh rosemary, so that's being cut down to a teaspoon. This is 2 teaspoons of thyme, This was 5 grams of pepper, whole black pepper. Toss that in there. And then it said 5 juniper berries. I tossed in a couple extra just for luck. So that's all that. And this is where you sit back and watch the magic. Makes it so much easier. I mean, obviously if you don't have one of these, although they are dirt cheap, I think I picked this up for something like 10 bucks. If you don't have one, you could sit there with a mortar and pestle and you could do it that way. If you don't have one of those, go out and buy one. So you can see that took about 5 seconds. It's pretty much a powder already. Give it another go. And yeah. Powder's ready to go. I think the juniper berries stood up a little bit more than anything else, but if you want, you can pick them out, send them around again. And they are smushed. So that is your mix, all powdered. And your meat is all ready to go. You've cleaned it up. And all you do at this point is take some of that mix. I'm actually going to split it in half. You're going to save some for later. Take that mix and you're going to very generously coat the meat. We'll just get rid of that one. Once you get it on the board, just roll it around, sort of like doing dough. Rub it into every single crack and crevice you can find. Leave no stone unturned. And this is the curing stage. So the salt and the sugar is going to get into the meat. It's going to help break down the proteins. Kill all the bacteria that would promote some nasty growth. Obviously, this is a method that has been known to man for basically millennia, curing meat. In the days before refrigeration, you had to keep your meat fresh somehow. Preserving it with salt was the only way available. So, get as much of that stuff on there as you can, roll it around, like I said, and you are good to go. Now, at this point, you can either, let's just dump all that on there. You can either lie it in a non-reactive dish, such as this, or the other method I've seen some people do, just take a Ziploc bag. Open up the Ziploc bag, toss it in there, and seal it up. So what you're going to do with this is stick it in the fridge for about a week. I'm going to take all the air out of there. And maybe once a day you can take a look at it, you can roll it over, turn it over, give a little massage the meat like so, get the bag all dirty because you haven't washed your hands. But yeah, you're gonna give that about a week for the salt to do its thing, to get into the meat, and like I said, break it down, kill all the bacteria. After about a week of sitting in there like that, then you're gonna get into wrapping it up. And you've seen the other video, I don't really need to explain this. Take it out, get it out of the bag, put down the cheesecloth, cover with the cheesecloth, get your string out, tie it up. And from there, for a 3-pound piece of meat, you're looking at roughly 3 weeks. What you want to do is lose roughly 30% of the initial weight. So if you want to do it exacting, get your scale out, measure it, weigh it beforehand, record the exact weight. Let's say it was 3 pounds. And when it's done, that should be down to 2 pounds. When it is done as well, it should be firm to the touch. And you'll take a look at it, you'll smell it, make sure it doesn't smell overly funky. If there's any green mold on it, that is not a good thing. You're probably going to have to chuck it out. If there is white mold on it, that is okay. The white mold is a good mold, but at the same time you don't want to eat it. So what you're going to do is you're going to wash that off with some wine. And you thought it was here for drinking. Well, actually it is. So when it comes out, you're going to clean it off with some wine. And lucky enough, I happen to have in the fridge right now one that I have started about 3 weeks ago. So exactly that. This had the same process as this one. It sat, I didn't put it in the bag, but I did have it in this dish, covered with saran wrap, in the fridge for a week. Turned it over every once in a while. And this one's a bit smaller, so I only left it hanging for 2 weeks. So live on YouTube, for your viewing pleasure, we're going to have the big reveal together. Obviously I've not opened this up yet, so we're going to find out at the same time if this worked or not. Hopefully it did. Cut the string and open the cloth. You can see the cloth has taken on quite a bit of color. That is from the spice rub that went on there. And that is one dried out looking hunk of meat, isn't it? Hopefully it tastes better than it looks. So as I said, I'm just going to give it a bit of a rinse. I said I was going to use the wine, didn't I? Now, we get a clean board and cut into it. See what it looks like, shall we? And that is a beautiful thing. You can see that dark color. This was not an eye of round. This was a sirloin roast. Slightly better cut of meat, but if you ask me, that was worth the wait. Like I said, that cured for a week and hung for 2. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty delicious. Hopefully I don't eat this whole thing right now. So there you go. That's your basic rundown of making bresaola. Sorry, I'm going to eat this whole thing if I don't stop myself. Now the way you're supposed to hang this is you keep it between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 15 to 20 Celsius, with about 60 to 70% humidity. Generally, I know in the Italian community they like to do cantinas, which is basically a modified room in the basement that keeps a certain level of humidity and keeps the airflow moving. If you don't have all that fancy equipment, I know you can go to the store and get yourself a little, not quite a thermometer, but something that will read the humidity in the room, and then you can adjust accordingly. But yeah, if you've got a basement, from what I know, you can leave it in the basement with an open window, giving it a bit of a breeze. You just got to check on it again, make sure it's not covered in green mold. Green mold, bad. White mold, okay. But yeah, as long as you follow the basic principles, you should be fine. I'm not saying this as an expert. I am by no means an expert. But if you're into charcuterie, go ahead and learn more. As I've said in my other videos, this is an excellent resource right here. This is, from what I understand, the gold standard in the industry. The guy who wrote this is very well respected. He's got a whole list of celebrity chefs on the back endorsing this book. And my cutting skills are slightly suspect. Again, you can see the beautiful color in that, how it's gone that deep purplish type. Smoke on the water, looking lovely. So if you like that, let me know. As always, like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back in a few minutes with another video. Time to make dinner. Talk to you in a bit.